The next step I want to do is change the home page of this application to display videos by writing some JavaScript that calls get all videos and putting that information on the screen. Since I want that to happen on the home page, that means I'll need to go into the views folder and open up the index view of the home controller. I've currently removed all of the HTML and Razor code that was in here so that we just have a blank home page. What I want to do is add some script to display our videos on this home page, but not do it through a Razor view, but through a call to that web API. And I'm going to need some help from some other JavaScript libraries to pull this off. The first thing I'm going to do is come into the Package Manager console and say update package jQuery. I just want to make sure that I'm running with the latest version, which should be 1.7.2. You might have a different version when you do a file new MVC4 project, but if you run an update package jQuery, you'll have the latest version. And the other thing that I want to do is install a package. I want to install a package called handlebars.js. This is a templating library for JavaScript. There's lots of different templating libraries out there. Pick the one that you like the best. I like Handlebars because I like Handlebars syntax the best, but you might find one that suits your needs a little bit better. With Handlebars in place, I know I need to include that script. I need to write some script for this home page. There's a couple different approaches I could use to do that. I could create an extra JS file that gets included in here, but just to keep things simple, I'm going to keep all of our markup and all of our JavaScript in the same file, which is index.cshtml. And I have an ideal place where I can place scripts, because the layout view for an MVC4 application includes at the bottom of the page a render section for an optional section called scripts. This means that you can override that and say that I want to create some content for the section called scripts. And now I can include as much script code as I want inside of here, or include as many script tags as I need, and they can all go to the bottom of the page where they load very efficiently. So let me create a script tag where I will write my JavaScript. But before I forget, let me also go in and make sure that Handlebars is available. I'll just drag it from the Solution Explorer and drop it here. We can get rid of the type attribute that's not needed in HTML5 and just say source equals ~scripts/handlebars.js. MVC4 will make sure it resolves that to an app relative path. Okay, so with Handlebars in place, I think what I want is an abstraction that represents my server, the thing that I call into to get videos, to update a video, to delete a video. So using the JavaScript module pattern, I'm going to declare a video server object, and that's going to be set equal to the following function evaluation. One of the things that I'll need to know when I'm trying to reach the server is what URL to go to. So let me paste in a piece of code that will build a video API URL. This is going to be done using a Razor expression and calling into the URL helper, calling the route URL method. What route URL can do is when you give it the name of a route and some parameters, it will build the URL for you, like /API/videos. So what we have to tell route URL is the name of the route that's registered in the system that we want to reach or that we want to use. So if you remember in app start, when we had a route config, we had a HTTP route defined as default API. That's the route that we want to use. So in order to use that, we really have to do two things. First of all, specify default API as a parameter here. And number two, what they don't tell you in the documentation is that you have to pass in this anonymously typed parameters object a property on that object called HTTP route. And it doesn't have to be set to any particular value. It just has to be present as a property in order for the MVC runtime to correctly resolve a route to the video controller to produce something that is /API/videos. So this is the call. We want to reach this controller using this route. That should give us a nice variable there. And the other thing that I'm going to set up right now globally is some sort of AJAX error handler. So if anything goes wrong on any call to the server, I can display, in this case, an alert that shows me the status of the XML HTTP request. That is literally the HTTP response code, whether it be a 404 or a 400 or a 500, and also the status text that came back from the server, like file not found or invalid method. Yes, we should give the user a nicer user interface than just an alert box, but this will give us a good start. It's going to keep things simple, will allow us to immediately see if anything fails. So with that all in place, I can add a method here that allows me to call the API controller through a method called getVideos. All that's going to do is use jQuery's $.ajax method to say, let's kick off an XML HTTP request to this URL. If anything goes wrong, this is the global error handler for any jQuery AJAX request that has an error code that returns. We're just going to kick that off here and return that object. I'll show you how we can use the jQuery promises that are behind $.ajax and $.getJSON and $.post. They all return promises that we can build on. And finally, since this is a module pattern, or a revealing module in this case, I need to actually return an object that will get set to this video server variable, and that object will have a getVideos member that points to my private implementation of getVideos. So that's all set up and ready to use. Now I just need to write some code that will call that method, process the data, and update the UI. So that I'm also going to place into a module. This one doesn't have to be assigned to a variable. Everything's going to be private inside of here. And it's inside of here, one of the techniques I use is declare a module, and inside of that module have the code that you use to handle the DOM ready event. So this is wiring up the DOM ready event in jQuery. I'm saying when the DOM is ready, call a method named refresh videos. What would refresh videos look like? Well, that could be a private method inside of this module that might look like this. Refresh videos is a function that calls video server. That's the object that we built up here. Call into video server, call the getVideos method. That will return $.ajax, which is a jQuery promise. One of the things you can do with a promise is to say when you're .done, when there's an error, or when you failed, when it succeeded, you can register all sorts of callbacks into it. The one I'm just particularly interested in is when you are successfully done. When you're done, I want to show all the videos. So we need to take the data that comes back from the server, hopefully in JSON format because we're calling it using JavaScript. I'm going to take all the videos that come back and get them onto the screen somehow. And this is where handlebars comes in, because with handlebars you can define a template using HTML with little commands inside of it and tell handlebars to take that template, combine it with some data, and create some HTML for you. So back up here in the view, outside of the script section, I'm actually going to define a script, and it could go inside the script section too, but it really doesn't matter because this isn't a real script that's going to have executable JavaScript code inside, and that's why the type is set to text/HTML. This is not script, this is not HTML that I want to display, this is really just a template that I need to give to handlebars so that it can create a table with videos inside. These are the handlebar instructions saying, you give me an object, and what I'll do is for each video in that object, so it expects a collection of videos, I'll write out a table row. I'll give each row a data-ID attribute with the video's ID property. I'll create a table cell with the video's title, create a table cell with the video's length, and add 2 buttons to each row, and I'll do that for each video that I found. So that's the template that we're going to use. And one of the things that you do with handlebars is you compile these templates. So back down here inside of my module, I'm going to create a variable to hold all of my compiled templates because I know I'm going to need, I think, at least 2. There's going to be a template to display a list of videos, and there's going to be a template to update a video or edit a video. Something with a form and inputs that I put a video inside of. The other piece that I'm going to add, before I forget about it, is that when I render this template and it produces HTML, where do I want to put that? I'll create a div here called video table output. That's where I'll place the output of this template. All right, so back down here, we have a variable to hold our compiled templates. What I'll do is I'll add a function that will compile templates for me. Let me add that here. What compile templates will do is add a video table property to this templates object. And that video table property is set to handlebars.compile in my script. So video table, if you remember, when I scroll up, is the template that we have here. we're going to take that template, compile it, put the result into this video table member. That will be a function that I can invoke and pass in the videos that I want to render with that template. So what I'll have to do is when the DOM is ready, make sure that we compile the templates first and then refresh the videos. When we refresh the videos, we'll get the videos from the video server and then we'll show them. Show all videos now is a pretty easy implementation that I have these now that I have these templates in place. Show all videos is a function that will get invoked. We'll get the data from the XML HTTP request object. That'll just be the array of videos. I'll go up to that video table compiled template that we created, tell it to render that template using the data that we got back from the server. That will produce some output. It's HTML output. So we'll walk up to that div, the video table output div, put that HTML inside of it. So quite a bit of script that we've written so far just to do one simple thing, but we'll be able to keep building on top of this so other operations will be a little bit easier. I'm just going to save everything and build to make sure everything is in sync, and then run the application with my fingers crossed to see what happens. And there we get our two videos from the database on the screen. Behind the scenes, our JavaScript made a call to that Web API controller. It produced some JSON with the videos inside. We ran it through a handlebars template and put it onto the screen.